Ms. Ezeilo, you have the floor.
Thank you. Distinguished President, Excellencies, Delegate. It is an honor to address this committee on behalf of the International Independent Fact-Finding Mission for the Sudan. Our chairperson, Mohamed Chan Othman, regrets that he was unable to travel due to unforeseen circumstances. My colleague, expert member, Muna Rishwani, will respond to your questions. As atrocities surrounding the fall of Fasher to the Rapid Support Forces unfold, our fact-finding mission has gathered direct and harrowing testimonies from survivors that reveal systematic and verified videos of the ongoing attacks against civilians, particularly non-Arab communities. Our initial investigation points to a deliberate pattern of ethnically targeted executions of unarmed civilians, assault, sexual violence, widespread looting, and destruction of vital infrastructure, and mass forced displacement. Humanitarian access among trapped civilians. Of course, humanitarian access remains blocked, exacerbating starvation and disease among trapped civilians. Those who fled Fasher, including wounded and unaccompanied children, and the women, risked further subjection to sexual violence. This is only the latest chapter in the book of brutality. Our statement today builds upon our report, Sudan, a War of Atrocities, an associated conference room paper exploring the path to justice and accountability in Sudan. Together, they document the suffering of Sudanese people and stress the urgent need for laying foundations for justice and peace in Sudan. Already in the previous months, the RSF conducted large-scale attacks targeting civilians based on ethnicity, gender, or perceived political affiliation in areas under their control, particularly in and around Fasher. This included killings, torture, rape, sexual slavery, pillage, forced displacement, and deliberate use of starvation as a weapon of war. As Fasher and surrounding camps of Zamzia and Abshwak were besieged, RSF killed thousands, mostly from non-Arab communities. Widespread sexual violence has characterized this conflict, carried out primarily by the RSF. Women and girls, some as young as 10, were subjected to rape, gang rape, sexual slavery, and forced marriage. Men and boys were also not spared. These crimes are not isolated incidents, but form part of a deliberate strategy to punish, intimidate, and erase ethnic identities. These large-scale and systematic lethal attacks amount to war crimes and crimes against humanity, including persecution based on intersecting gender, political, and ethnic grounds. We've also documented serious violations by the Sudanese armed forces that amount to war crimes. These include, in particular, indiscriminate airstrikes, unpopulated areas, and civilian infrastructure, reprisal attacks against the civilian population, and failure to protect hospitals, medical personnel, and humanitarian operations. Of particular concern is that 2 senior World Food Program officials have been asked to leave the country yesterday. Destruction of essential infrastructure has defined this war. We documented attacks by SAF and RSF against hospitals, markets, water system, and humanitarian convoys. Less than a quarter of health facilities remain operational. Nearly 25 million people face acute food insecurity. The combination of starvation tactics, mass killings, and destruction of infrastructure by the RSF may amount to extermination as a crime against humanity. Civic life has collapsed. Cities and towns lie in ruins. Over 11 million are displaced within and outside Sudan. The scale and persistence of this violation require urgent international action and a genuine commitment to accountability. Sudan is currently unwilling and unable to conduct genuine investigation or prosecution of international crimes. Its history is marked by impunity. Domestic accountability measures are inadequate, characterized by selective justice, lack of fair trial guarantees, and a legal system that fails to protect victims and provide effective remedies. Our report therefore set out a path to justice through inclusive Sudanese dialogue. Victims, survivors, and Sudanese society have the right to know the truth about violations committed, the fate of the missing, and the role of authorities. They have the right to see perpetrators held accountable in fair trials. This can be achieved through expanding the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court, ICC, over the entire territory of Sudan, and the establishment of complementary independent judicial mechanism. We welcome the ICC judgment of 6th October in the case of Ali Gosheb, which demonstrates accountability is possible. States should exercise universal jurisdiction to prosecute international crimes. This is not interference, but a shared duty to uphold international law. Justice must include reparations. Victims cannot wait for peace to receive assistance. They urgently need shelter, food, medical care, psychological support, and access to education and livelihoods. The creation of a victim support and reparation office could deliver interim support. States must use their influence to halt the fighting and achieve peace. All parties must cease hostilities, protect civilians, and respect international law. But sustainable peace needs more. It requires transforming Sudan's justice and security sectors. Legal reform must end impunity for state actors, align domestic law with international standard, restore judicial independence, and ensure no one is above the law. These reforms must be rooted in an inclusive democratic transition, and women must be at the center of the effort. Excellencies, justice is not optional. It is a path to peace, or without justice, peace is a mirage. Thank you.
I thank the member of the Independent International Fact-Finding Mission for the Sudan. I will now open the floor for questions or comments on the introductory statement.